Hi, we're here with Disruptive Conversations, Dr. Risa Ryger. We're jumping right in. And today on Disruptive Conversations, we're going to be talking about a really important conversation. And that conversation is the conversation that we have with ourselves. Whether you think it or not, you're always in conversation with yourself. You're telling yourself different things. And the question is, what is that conversation like? What's the narrative that you're hearing? What's the self-talk that's going on? So first, welcome everyone to Disruptive Conversations with entrepreneurs, thought leaders, influencers, authors, educators, in which we deep dive into the experiences these women have needed to navigate and conquer in order to create and achieve their personal and professional success. I'm Dr. Risa Ryger, clinical psychologist, and I'm an expert in change. I make people help make positive change at any point. And one thing for sure is that we are built for change. The other thing for sure is that positive change can happen at any point. But in order to have positive change, you need to disrupt. You need to disrupt a thought, a feeling, a belief, a habit, a behavior in order to create your 10.0 life. And that's what this series of conversations is about. And today, this conversation is going to be with me and with you. And delighted to have you here today so that we can talk a lot about our conversations with ourselves. And some of the most important and difficult conversations that we have is about what we tell ourselves, the sort of inner commentary that we have. Some people call it the inner voice, the inner critic, the self-narrative. And the question is like, well, why is this important? Let's start with the basic premise that it really, really is. What you tell yourself is so important. So picture this. You're standing next to a friend. You're standing next to somebody that you don't even know. And then all of a sudden you hear them say to themselves, oh, I'm such an idiot. I'm so stupid. How could I have gotten that wrong? I can't believe I made that mistake again. I just can't stand it. What makes me think I could even do this? And these are some of the conversations that can go on inside of you, some of the narrative, some of you're doing something, and then boom, there's that voice coming right in, coming at you. And that voice is coming from yourself. So one thing to know is that your brain doesn't teach you. You teach your brain. You need to teach your brain what it needs to know. So that when you're teaching your brain about being an idiot, being critical about yourself in this kind of way, that's what your brain is teaching you. Your brain's a really good learner. And key here is, why is this important? Because when you're trying to do something and you're taking that leap, you're taking that challenge, you're taking that stretch, you need to be in a space of feeling a little bit more competent, more capable. And what you're hearing and the noise going on and the narrative that's happening, it's like having an announcer that what makes you think you can do that? You know you're not good at this. You don't know anything about this. And so we need to listen for that voice, acknowledge that we're hearing it, become aware of it, and then start to make change. Because the first place that you're getting no, before you ask anyone, before you move forward, before you take that step for yourself, is you're giving yourself that first no before anyone else has a chance to do it. When you tell yourself, you can't do that, you shouldn't try that, what makes you think that you could do that? Oh, come on, remember these other times that you've tried and it hasn't worked out? So let's get really clear about this. that there needs to be room for growth. There needs to be room for being softer with yourself. So the first thing is to become aware of the voice, because it could be very loud, it could be something that you're aware of, it could be very, very soft and very, very subtle. And so listen in. Listen in. You know, when you're like, there are people at the table next door, they're having conversation, it sounds a little interesting, so you kind of go this way to hear it a little bit. This is a time to listen in on your conversation. Listen in on the voices that are going on in your head, and to become aware of what that conversation is. So the goal isn't going from you're terrible to you're wonderful. That may be very true, but we need to be able to do this in a way that makes sense. So how do we improve this? How do we go from you're not whatever, and in going from that space of commentary that's less than, that stops you, that's red light, that's disparaging, one question is you can ask yourself is, where did this come from? How did this come to be? Why am I saying these things about myself? And that can be very helpful for you. Then to start making the corrections. You know, we're hearing a lot about repair in relationship. This can be a moment to have a repair in your relationship with yourself. Your relationship with yourself is so powerful. The relationship with yourself, that's your engine. That's your fuel. That's what you bring into everything that you do. And so in that relationship with yourself, you can let yourself know, you know, what I said was really, really harsh. Yes, I do need to get better at something, but that's different than telling myself, you're incompetent, you're not capable. To tell yourself, I'm taking a step that's really important. And here in my mug today, because I always have something with me, is start somewhere. I want to give you a start point. That start point can be listening in on your conversation with yourself, hearing where you're being disparaging. And if you think that being hard on yourself is going to be the motivator to get you going, disparaging yourself, saying cruel things to yourself, being overly hurtful to yourself, if you think that's going to be the motivator, and you've heard that before, I'm going to tell you right now, that's absolutely not the way that it works. It is a stopper. It's your red light. It's the point where you just like let go of it and give it up. So what you can do is find some other conversation to have with yourself, to have some other self-talk with yourself. So that, for example, if you're starting something new, rather than feeling that and telling yourself, I can't do this, I'm incapable, that you can tell yourself, I'm learning, I'm trying, I'm at the beginning. And those pieces are very important. When you've botched it up, when it's been an epic fail, you can even say to yourself, okay, that was a fail. That doesn't mean that that bad things are going to happen to you. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't be walking the earth, that you've had a fail. Question next is, what can I learn about this? Because you're in a learning process, as we should be throughout our whole lives. What can I learn about this to take it forward into my next situation? So that part is very important. So we're to kind of just restate this. So one is that you have a conversation going on. You have an announcer announcing things to yourself. Become aware of it. What is it that you're saying? Where did it come from? And to soften what you're saying and to go from this to that. To go from you're not capable, you're not competent, to I'm getting better at this, I'm learning more, I'm in the process, I'm giving myself the grace of growth. The next step is to also let yourself know and tell yourself the times that you've had the win, the times that you've taken this step, the times that you've tried something and it has worked out. So at that point, because we have a negativity bias, which means that we have a tendency to really glom on the negative. It's supposed to be a protective mechanism for us. But also, you need to learn how to bring in the positive and how we need to let that stay with us. Because oftentimes, we may not give value, adequate value, to what we're doing and the ways that we've tried and the ways that we've had a win. And a win doesn't have to be in neon lights. It can be trying. It can be making the call, going to the event that you didn't want to go to meet people, giving something a try, and to give yourself the necessary and the meaningful and the true positive conversation so that you have that for yourself as well. So that you can say to yourself, you did that, you were really uncomfortable doing it, and you did it. Good for you. Once you do something, you break a barrier and you bring in possibility. And it's so important to teach your brain about possibility, that where you start isn't necessarily where you end, and that you can learn, improve, and take what experiences that you've had and build that into your narrative. And we don't know everything all at once. The first time I started doing first time I started doing videos, I had no idea, right? That you have to be a lighting person. You have to know how to do all these different aspects of making something happen. And it takes practice, it takes time, but you have to stick with it and give yourself the grace of sticking with something. So important. So for everyone coming in at this point, get familiar, be able to call out, bring awareness, let awareness be your superpower. Because awareness is the beginning of everything. You cannot change what you're not aware of. So bring that awareness to that critical voice, that voice inside you that's the stopper. And where you start isn't where you stop. Make that happen for you. And for those of you coming for the first time, welcome. So happy to see you. Is Smooth, thanks so much for coming. Hasla Boons, thank you very much. And for all of you, if you have any questions, please drop them in. And know that I'm dropping information all the time, and wouldn't want you to miss it. You can use it. I make things that are very workable, implementable, because that's what it's about, is becoming aware of the changes that you need to make, and then thinking through what it is that you can do, and then starting with something that's doable. And remember that doing something always beats doing nothing. Doing something is your beginning point. Not only does it help you to deal with that inner critic and help to talk back to that voice and say, no, that's not how it is. This is how it is. Maybe another time this is what I thought. And now this is what I've been able to accomplish. This is what I've been able to do. This is the step that I've taken. And give yourself the time and the space to wire in the good, to wire in the accomplishment, to wire in the thing that you feel proud about, and give yourself that opportunity to feel proud. about the small spaces. That's where life happens. Most of life doesn't happen with neon lights, with the big spotlight on you, like the Hollywood spotlight. Most of life happens in little moments. So look at your moments, see what they are, give yourself heart and credit for making that happen. Know that positive change can happen at any point. If you haven't followed me, please do. I wouldn't want you to miss the information. If you have friends who haven't been able to join live, please let them know. Always dropping content for you, because no matter where you are right now, no matter what space you're in, that positive change can happen at any point. You haven't missed your opportunity. We're built for change. Bring your awareness and help make change be your superpower. See you next time, and leave me some messages. Love to hear from you, always do. Till then, positive change can happen at any point.